Welcome to the Steps in Purpose podcast with Edie Ann. This podcast explores emotional awareness, faith, and purposeful living through short, reflective conversations designed to help you notice where you are and take your next step with clarity. Thanks for being here. Before we begin, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you felt fully here, fully present, without forcing yourself to be? I want to welcome you to Steps in Purpose. This is a podcast where we slow things down enough to understand what we are feeling, why it makes sense, and what the next gentle step actually should be. I'm your host, Edie Ann, and if you're here, you do not need fixing. You need understanding. So I want you to take a breath, let your shoulders drop, and let us step into today together. So welcome back. And if you're listening today and feeling a little numb, a little checked out, or just quietly disconnected from yourself or the world around you, I want you to know this right away, right off the top. You are not doing anything wrong. You're just responding. Okay? Disengaged doesn't mean broken. It means your system needs a pause. So often we think resetting means climbing out, right? Fixing something or pulling ourselves together. We tell ourselves we should be more motivated, more grateful, more present. But resetting from being disengaged is not about effort at all. It's about reconnection, slowly, safely, with grace. Okay, this level responds to gentleness and only gentleness. The more you push, the more you want to withdraw. Disengagement usually shows up after a long season of pushing, right? So the more you're pushing, the more you're retracting. You stay strong, you showed up, you handled what you needed to be handled, right? And at some point, your nervous system quietly said, that's it, this is enough, I'm done for right now. So it pulled the volume down. It softened your emotional range and created this distance, right? And it's not to punish you, but it's really to protect you. That reset here and this reset that we're doing is permission. It's permission to feel small moments again, right? Permission to rest without guilt. Permission to stop trying to make sense of everything. Permission to reconnect one sense at a time instead of all of them at once. I want you to think warm light instead of bright light. Soft music instead of noise. A quiet prayer instead of long explanations, right? A moment of presence instead of pressure. We need more of that, right? We need to be more present rather than putting more pressure. Nothing loud, nothing demanding, nothing that asks you to perform your healing, right? You don't need a breakthrough right now. You just need clarity. You might not even need a plan. You just need to feel safe. And you need to give yourself some grace. Disengaged is actually often misunderstood. From the outside, people might think you are distant. Maybe they might think you're unmotivated. And inside, what is really happening is a conversation. So hear me out. Your system is saving energy. It's holding space for you. It's waiting for conditions to feel safe again. That's why we teeter between disengaged and survival pretty regularly and quite often, right? We go in that fight or flight mode because that too kind of feels safe, but it's draining and overwhelming, right? And safety isn't something you force. It's something that you create. So coming back online is not a switch. It's not an on or off switch. It's a dimmer switch, right? So you're slowly taking the light down a little bit and maybe slowly bringing the light back in. I also want to gently offer something about language here. And if you've been following me for some time, you know that I refer to something called right language. And that's because words matter more than you actually realize. I want you to notice how often we say things like, I have anxiety, or I am anxious. When we speak that way, we are not just describing a feeling. We're actually attaching that to our identity. You might be saying, I am anxiety. So instead, try naming the emotion without becoming it. You could say something like, I am feeling anxious right now, or even anxiety is present, right? You're shifting it to be an outside thing and not an identity, not an inside thing. So that small shift creates space between you and the emotion. It reminds your system that feelings move, right? They come and they go, and they're information, but they're not who you are. And sometimes that first reset is not changing what you feel, but changing how you speak to yourself about what you feel. You turn it up slowly, a little more awareness here, right? A little more sensation there. You notice without judgment. You stay curious instead of critical, right? So today, we're not asking you to feel everything. We're asking you to feel one thing, one small sensory moment. Maybe it's a warm drink in your hands, noticing the temperature, right? Fresh air on your face and noticing the way it feels. A slow stretch that reminds your body you still exist inside yourself, right? These moments matter more than they may seem, because sensation is how the nervous system relearns safety, not through thinking, through experiencing. And if you notice resistance to even this, and it's okay, right? Resistance is information. It's not failure. It simply tells you how tender things still are. Meet yourself there, okay? Let that one moment be enough. You're not behind. You're not stuck. You're resting at the edge of yourself, gathering what you need before the next step appears. If you want structured support through this process, the foundation book I wrote, Steps in Purpose, the 8 Levels of the Emotion Gauge, and the e-course, those can gently guide you through resets for every level of the gauge. And they're there when you're ready. But for now, it's okay to stay here. This isn't quitting. It's more of a recalibration. And if this episode stirred some curiosity rather than urgency, that is exactly the place I hoped it landed. That gentle wondering is how the Steps in Purpose work was created to be experienced. There's no pressure, there's no timeline. The e-course is simply there for you when and if it feels supportive. If you want to explore more, you'll find a lot of information waiting alongside other resources at www.edian.com. So that's EDIEAN.com. ANNE.com. But for now, just notice what this episode stirred inside of you, because awareness matters more than you think. Thanks for spending this time with me. Until next time, keep stepping in purpose.